Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Phoenix and Friends podcast, where we bring you a little bit of inspiration, motivation, and light, one guest at a time. This week, we're diving into the worlds of comedy, poetry, and music with my incredible guest, Sarah Callaghan. Sarah, how are you?
Hello. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
I'm excited to
How
be here.
is
This is exciting, man.
Yeah, I'm really excited to have you. Like, it's been a long time since we've seen each other, actually, a little bit. I'm so happy to actually catch up with everything that you've been doing and to hear about how your journey's continued with everything. So,
Yeah.
for
Well, I
the
think.
audience at home,
Oh
who
yeah.
are
Go
you?
on.
What do you do? Introduce yourself.
So, so I'm a stand-up comedian. I've been a comedian for 15 years. Traveled all over. Done loads. About 10 Edinburgh Fringe shows. Traveled to different countries. Toured different countries. Done some TV bits. And then in the past 8 years, I started doing spoken word poetry. Performing at different nights as well and being part of different collectives. I've written 4 books in that time. And then I also managed to create a band, and we play together as well. And we do headline shows and we make music, and it's all very fun. And yeah, and I do a bit of acting and bits and bobs. I'm a sort of, jack of all trades, creative, but it's been a fun journey so far. But yeah, never boring, that's for sure.
That is like, I feel like you summed up so many incredible things so quickly. So I want to dive into some of them a little bit more. So you said Edinburgh Fringe. So was it comedy that started you off?
Yeah, I was doing comedy since I was about 18 years old, and my focus was always the Fringe. As a comedian, always you're sort of it's drummed into you to write a new hour every year, and then you go up to Edinburgh and you show your talents, and people sort of scout you for different things. You get agents for TV work. I mean, the industry has changed a lot since then, but it was like you would go up there to try and find fame and fortune. So yeah, it was always comedy, always comedy. And then I sort of was doing that up until 2019, 2020, but then obviously the pandemic happened, because I had a year off and then I was going to go back, and then yeah, the pandemic happened and that was that, and I haven't really been back since, because in between then I moved to Australia, so I've been living in Australia for 2 years. But yeah, it was always comedy. It was great. It was fun.
And how did you make that transition from comedy to poetry and music and acting? And how did that is such an interesting space to start and then transition into the other arts from. So how did that happen for you?
Well, it actually came from a really dark time in my life. I was involved with quite an abusive guy, and I was in a very abusive relationship, mentally abusive, physically abusive. I just became super depressed, and obviously because I was doing comedy, it was like wearing a mask. I'm just making jokes all the time. I wasn't healing. I wasn't able to like really look myself in the mirror and realize how messy my life had become. So I used to go to all these different nights, like creative nights and like open mic nights and stuff, and sound healing and meditation. And sometimes at the end of these nights, they'll do like an open mic. They invite someone to the stage, say, "Hey, do you want to play an instrument, sing a song, do a poem?" And this one time, I just got up and read a poem out of something I'd written about feeling so depressed in this relationship, and it was so like therapeutic for me. I couldn't believe it, like just to get it off my chest. And people were coming up to me saying that they resonated with it, and they'd been through similar situations, and it just opened up this whole new like world for me in terms of being really vulnerable, which I'd never been before ever. Like doing comedy, and never would talk about my feelings or connect with people in a deep way, and to kind of drop the mask. And it was just amazing. It was sort of the making of me in terms of really realizing who I am and making these really strong connections with people that helped me and I helped them. And yeah, it was just incredible. I never looked back. And then I just kept writing and performing, and it just grew from there really. And 8 years later, I'm still doing it. So yeah, that's how it started. It actually came from something really dark, but ended up being a really positive thing.
I feel like that's so universal for so many artists
Yeah.
and even comedy in a way. But then I find that so interesting what you said there as well about the vulnerability, because my mum always, we have a lot of jokes in our family. I'm not a comedian, but we also tell a lot of jokes. And my mum always says that comedy is a way to keep something difficult and depressing at arm's length almost. So it's almost like a defense mechanism against it. But then, like you said, that transition where when instead of making light about it in comedy, then you took it really very seriously and you were vulnerable and you actually confronted those difficult dark emotions that yeah, so you said with the audience our response is different, so how do you find that as well between doing poetry or music and then moving on to doing comedy? How is the audience as different in that as well, and which do you enjoy more?
The audiences are different in terms of like, if you do really well at a comedy gig, you'll just get someone drunk coming up to you being like, "Oh yeah, you're really funny, yeah, I really liked, like, you were good tonight," and then they just walk off, and they probably will never remember your name ever again. But when someone connects with your poetry and they come up to you, it's more like they don't say, "Oh, well done." They want to have a chat, and I find because my stuff's all sort of introspective, it's talking about depression, mental health. I have a lot of people come up to me and tell me about what's going on in their life. Like I've had people tell me about abusive relationships they've been in, child abuse, epilepsy, different conditions they've got, ADHD, autism, things like that, like feeling low, having no self-worth, like just telling me their stories. And it's amazing because it's a nice feeling to think that they can feel comfortable enough to open up to me. And I really like that because I've never had that before, to have a really strong connection with an audience member that's enjoyed my stuff and likes it enough that they want to come up and actually share something really personal about themselves to me. So I love that. I love splitting from the two because it's just nice to be a bit serious and then be lighthearted and then be serious. You know what I mean? It breaks the week up a little bit. And I do shows now where they do the poetry and comedy mix. So in 1 hour, I'll flip from the funny to the serious to the funny to the serious. And it sounds like it wouldn't work, but it works really well. There's like music in there and stuff, and it leaves people feeling like, bloody hell, I was laughing, next minute I'm crying, then I'm thinking, then I'm laughing again, and I'll take them on this mad like roller coaster.
Sounds like life.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's exactly like life. So I feel like I'm giving them the real life experience in it. But yeah, I love doing shows like that. I think it's good. I think it catches people off guard. People that don't really expect to be thinking about stuff or thinking deep. They're always just like, oh my god, actually that got me. So I like that. No, I'll get a kick out of that.
So to follow the journey, you started in comedy, you moved on to poetry, and then you got the band together.
Yeah.
So how was that adding music on top of the poetry, and how did that change the dynamic? And how did you feel for that transition of being a musician now?
Yeah. It elevates everything. Like it is the single most thing that I loved to do in ever. Like it brings me so much joy. Like you asked me before as well, which I prefer. I mean, it's definitely doing the poetry with my band, 100%. Like I feel so at home. It just, I can't even put it into words how amazing it feels. And yeah, and it was a slow process. Like my brother-in-law plays guitar, so I used to get booked to do So Far Sounds gigs. Well, I still do. And one time I was like, "Oh, why don't you come along and play guitar with me?" So it was just me and him. And then I was like, "Oh, it'd be cool, like if we had keys." So then I knew a keys player, and then one by one, I just started to like build people up, and we got everyone together. And then it's like we've never not been together. We all gel. We're like a family. We get on so well, and they really like understand me. Like, because sometimes I can't articulate what I want the sound to be. I'm not a musician. I mean, I play drums a little bit, but I don't know like proper musician speak. So I'll be like, oh, I want something a bit euphoric and a bit like this, and start off this. And I'm thinking they're never going to understand. And then suddenly, bang, they're playing it, and it's like they've gone into my head. It's like we just get each other, and it's incredible. And I think when people see us do our live shows, they see like the bond that we have and how close we are, and with the poetry on top of the music, it elevates it. I think it's amazing, isn't it? But I shouldn't really be the one saying it. I should let the audience be the judge. But I mean, you got to rate your own stuff, right?
No, definitely. You have to be the first person you convince with your art,
Yeah.
because otherwise it's not worth sharing. If you haven't
Oh,
listened back
definitely.
to
Yeah.
it, if you haven't looked back at yourself, and if you don't think as an artist that it's good enough, then how is the audience going to think that?
Yeah. True. Yeah.
And I think
Exactly.
that confidence makes, especially performing, confidence makes all of the difference. Like if you have that confidence in yourself and your craft and what you're doing, it always translates to the audience. And when you feel insecure, unsure about what you're doing, then the audience is with you in that journey, and they're also like, what's going on here?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're not sure. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of those things that you can't really teach. You can't teach confidence. It has to come really genuinely from within, you know? Because I've seen people try and pretend to be confident and they'll
Yeah.
just be like really, really loud or like really erratic or, you know what I mean? But it's like you can see through it still. But sometimes the most quiet people or the most, composed people, they're the ones that I'm attracted to in terms of creatively because I'm like, oof, it's that quiet confidence.
Yeah, it's the
So yeah,
same
and that's
playing in a
taken me
band.
15 years to master. Like,
Same playing in a band, you really learn that it's so easy to play loud. The
mm,
most difficult thing is to play with a big group of people and all play quietly
yes,
and
yeah,
still
yeah,
play on point. Like if you can
mm,
play quietly and everyone's still hitting the notes, still in time, that's when you know
mm,
you're really good.
yeah,
It's so easy to just start smashing on everything, but yeah, that finesse and that control, you know. It's like
mm,
slicing something while you're cooking. It's easy to make big slices. It's really hard to cut it really thin.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then from there you went on to acting.
Yeah, I mean, well, the acting sort of went hand in hand with comedy. Like a lot of comedians get cast in stuff.
Mm.
Um, they don't really. I feel like casting directors don't really want people that have been to like acting school or stuff like that. So I've been very lucky to be able to get some adverts and other little TV bits and cameos and stuff over the years. But yeah, it's a hard one. It's a bad industry though, because it's like you'll do like 20 auditions and then you'll maybe only get one job. So I don't know how hard it is for like proper full-time actors in it. It's a tough world. But yeah, and I've been lucky to been able to dip a toe into it and do a few bits. I'd love to do more though.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd
definitely.
love to like write and star my own sitcom. That's the dream.
And then you also wrote a book, oh, multiple books.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I wrote a trilogy originally. Um, so it's called one of them's called The Ballad of Sarah Callaghan. Then the other one is From Ashes We Rise, and then the third one is called what is it called? I can't even remember what it's called, but it's they're just poetry collections, and they lead on from each other. And it's really nice because the first one's all about my time and it's really dark when I was going through my depression and I didn't know how to get out and I was suicidal and there was no hope and it was, really quite like now looking back, it's quite hard poetry for me to read. And then the middle one is about kind of rising from the ashes and regaining my self-worth and my confidence and being like, do you know what? Nah, I can do this. I'm ready. I'm better than this. I'm strong. I'm healing. And it's like really empowering poetry. Like it's probably one of my favorite collections. And it's always a big hit because I always bring my books to sell at poetry gigs and stuff, and that always sells out, that one. And then the third one, Nothing to Lose, Everything to Gain. That's what the third one's called. And that's about what's life after grief, like what's life after you've healed, looking at identity of like, well, who am I now? Because I feel like a lot of people that they actually their whole identity is their trauma, and it's scary to heal and to kind of be like, okay, well, who am I now? What do I talk about if I'm
Mm.
not talking about my fucking trauma and this person's done this and I'm like this? And so, yeah, it's again poetry. It's more inspiring poetry and just self-reflecting and just a really nice way to finish the trilogy. It's a real arc, journey of me and my life. But I feel like a lot of the poems in there are very relatable as well. And then my fourth one, which came out a couple of years ago, is called Painting Gold Within the Cracks, which was inspired by the Japanese art of the broken pottery, where when they glue them back together, they paint the gold in the cracks. And I feel like the book is like a metaphor, for life. It's all of our broken pieces. It's all of our imperfections that actually make us so unique and so beautiful. And those differences and broken pieces in ourselves should be celebrated. It's our war wounds. It shows how strong we are and what we've got through. And, it's our stories, it's our journey and our wisdom that comes from all of the bad things that have happened to us and shit. So I tried to write poetry about that. So again, I'm just trying to write poetry that's really inspiring, really positive, and just makes people feel like that they can get through anything and that they are capable of achieving and having a really good life. That's the message that I want to leave to the world. And that's it. And I'm working on another one at the moment, but I'm not going to tell you about that. But hopefully that should be out in next year.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that resonates so much. And while you were talking, I was thinking about Disney movies. I always have this thing about Disney movies, because it's one of the earliest things that teach us about life and trauma and
Mm,
hardship, I think,
yeah.
especially in our generation. And I always feel like Disney movies build this fantasy fable that you have your initial trauma. It's, the classic Cinderella story of you're dealing with this situation, your stepmother and your two evil stepsisters are making you clean, and your only friends are mice. And then you find your Prince Charming somewhere along the way, and then that's always where the movie ends. So I found that so interesting what you were saying about the identity after trauma, because I feel like that is a little bit of that same thing of like you go through something, you heal, and then it's like that's where normally the movie ends, that's where our media ends. It's like now you're
Mm,
supposed to go and live happy ever after,
yeah.
but life continues and difficulties continue, and you have
Mm,
new trials and tribulations to get through. So it's like that, as you're saying, it's that kind of trying to break away from that almost dreamlike fantasy state of a lot of art as well, but still trying to stay positive and optimistic at the same time. Like, how do you find that between, obviously, as an artist, you're always creating a work of fiction, but at the same time, that fiction is inspired by reality.
mm.
And yeah, how do you find that line between what is real life and what is a fantasy of your own creating and reflecting each other?
Of my stuff, comedy and the poetry is all pretty much true. Some of the jokes I do are like embellished, I guess, for comedic effect, but they're all true. I think the balance I have is to step step away from the art, you know? I think when I just don't create and I just go off and do something just completely random and I'm not like filming anything or making content, I'm just literally living my life. That's always a nice way to reset. Because then when I go back, it's like I always want to be honest on stage. I never want to be like people watching me being like, she's making that up. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Because I hate that. I've seen people do like talk about stuff poetry or sing a song, and I'm like, I don't believe you. I don't believe you've been
mm,
through this breakup. I don't believe that you're feeling like this. And I always want to be genuine, but obviously it gets heavy. So it's like if you're always being like that and you're constantly bleeding onto the page, you're giving yourself to these audiences night after night. It's exhausting. It's really hard, and it's like you feel like you have to hold a bit back, preserve yourself.
mm.
So that's what I try and do. I try and just like spend time with family. I've got like a young nephew and niece, like go and play with the kids and just like switch off, go out in nature or go on holiday or just do something. So then when I go back to it, I'm fresh.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm,
Yeah, and that cycle is so important of work and life, and trying to find a balance between the both, especially when um, I don't know, I guess you've done so many things. I can imagine you have a bit of that. When you get to a certain point and stage in life when you're like, well, I've kind of done the things that I've wanted to do.
mm,
So obviously I can keep going and I can do them more. But sometimes you start to question, like, wait, is there, even if it's, when you start to question the things that you love, how do you
yeah.
deal with that when you kind of set yourself goals and then you're like, oh, I keep managing to do them, and obviously there is more to do, but then do you sometimes feel like that fire going on? What do you do when that happens?
Oh, it's hard. I've definitely been feeling it the last few years. Because I have achieved a lot, but there's also a lot of things I haven't achieved. I've faced so much rejection, and it's not like 'cause people always think artists have a what do they call it, a thick skin, but like it hurts. It's not. I don't have a thick skin. I just get on with it, and I just okay. I'm tenacious, and I'm very like I just get up and go again. But it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. It really hurts, and I think the older you get, like I'm 34 next month, and I think it does great on you. You start thinking about life differently and what you want, and I want to have a family. I'm in a relationship now. I'm going to be moving countries. Things like big life things are going to be happening to me, and I'm still going to be creating, but I'm probably not going to have that fire that I had when I was 18, 19, 21, 22. You know what I mean? It's different now. It's more of a calm energy that it's my art's going to be more kind of thought out. and like intentional. Whereas before I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna do that gig. And I was like a yes man. I was like running around, gigging everywhere,
Mm.
like jumping on a plane, I'm gigging in Budapest, I'm gigging in fucking Amsterdam. And now I'm like, nah, just don't. I confused that a few weeks ago for thinking, oh, maybe the fire has burnt out. Maybe this is it. I'm like, I'm becoming somebody that I didn't want to become, a boring adult. Like, oh my God, like life's got me in a chokehold, bills and relationships. Like, oh shit, this is everything I didn't want to become. Maybe I'm becoming it. And I did get quite down, but it's not that. The fire's still there, but it's just the direction has changed, the intention has changed, and sometimes things just have to be pushed aside a little bit or put on pause. Doesn't mean they've gone away. It's just you're sort of moving things around, and that's okay. That's life. But yeah, it's definitely
Yeah,
been hard because I've never ever felt like this ever in my life and ever in my career. So
yeah.
yeah, it's been a really strange time for me recently, and like weird emotions that I've had to like really sit with and be like, what does this mean? But yeah, we're getting through it.
I think it just means that you're being a lot more intentional with your energy, and
Yeah.
I think going back to that, there's always more to achieve. But when you take it back to like very childlike state where you were just, like you said, that kid starting off that was just like, I just want to be a insert dream here. And you
Yeah.
stop and you think and you go, do you know what? I have actually achieved that.
Mm,
And then that fire of needing to prove yourself and your worth kind of, I think
mm,
that goes out over time because you're like, you know what? I think I'm good at this now. I don't need to
yeah.
convince the world. I don't need to convince
Mm,
myself. I don't need to convince my loved ones. I have confidence in that now. And then that
yeah.
changes your intentions where you're like, right, what do I do with this that is worth my time? I'm not going to throw myself at everything anymore. But
Yeah.
instead, I'm going to do the things that I'm like, guess I'm going to do this. This sounds really interesting, or this is a new challenge, or this is a one that I would just love to do, or yeah, and seeing how that works and fits in with the other parts of your life, as you're saying, that
Mm,
sound like they're just evolving and yeah. So
yeah,
it's like
definitely.
it's becoming more complete and more intentional.
Yeah.
And sometimes that can be so disorientating because you're like,
Mm.
wait, I'm not. What do you mean? I'm not trying to prove anything to anyone anymore, and that kind of,
Yeah, especially when
yeah,
it's been like your whole identity for so long. And then it's like, seems like it's just come to an abrupt stop. I'm like, oh my God. But yeah, it's just a change of perspective. I'm like, it's a good thing. You know what I mean? Don't be worried. Like, change is scary, but actually it's a good thing. And I love that quote, where it's like, if you know that book, it's like the hare, the horse, the fox, and the something. Do you, it's like a picture
mm,
book. Do you know the one I'm on
I
about?
think so. Yeah, yeah.
And there's one where it says, "Oh, they're climbing up a mountain," and he's like, "Oh, we've got so far to go." And then the fox says, "But look around and turn around and see how far we've come." And I feel
Mm,
like I always think of that quote and that picture because I'm like, yeah, it's true. Like whenever I get down, I'm thinking, oh, I haven't achieved, and I'm 34, and I haven't got this, and I haven't done this. It's like, yeah, but I've done like all of that, which a lot of people my age or in my situation haven't. So you have to give yourself grace and you have to congratulate yourself, um, and be like, yeah, there are still some things to achieve. There's some goals that you want to work towards. That's cool, but like bloody hell, like if you're not going to pat yourself on the back or say, do you know what, I did good there. What's the point? I don't think we do that enough. I don't
absolutely.
because everyone's so concerned about coming across as like arrogant or like not wanting to be proud of what they've done. But God, man, life's so hard. Like, be proud. Be
Yeah,
proud, and even if it's a small thing, like just getting out of bed or leaving that guy who was treating you like shit. Like that's really something to be really proud of. Like
it's
anytime you
especially the small things.
yeah, and it doesn't even need to be a huge thing, learning how to cook or anything. Just we should congratulate ourselves more, I think, and our friends.
Definitely. So I'm sure so many people at home are going to be wondering, how did you manage to really get into all of doing everything that it is you do? And what were like the little tips and tricks that you can pass on to people that are interested in joining some of your fields like comedy, poetry, like music, like
Mm.
acting, or writing a book and getting it published? How did you get to where you are now? And what would you pass on to people?
It's mad. Like I think it was just like a lot of like delusion. I'm not gonna lie. I just was just like, I'm just gonna do it, and I think I'm good. You know what I mean? It was that. crazy energy. But I mean, I fell into comedy. I did a comedy course out of boredom. Really, I didn't have a job at the time, and I was living with my mum. I was 18, and she was on my back telling me to get a job and you got to pay rent and all this stuff. And so I'd always done like acting and plays and musicals when I was younger. So I was on the computer one day and I saw a comedy course advertised. I thought, oh, I'll do that, try that. So I sort of fell into it. I did the course, really liked it, started doing open mics, and within 6 months, I'd had an agent that was getting paid, and then bang, you know what I mean? And then I was doing that, and I would say, if you want to do something creative, just do it. Don't think about it too much, literally just do it. And when you're doing it, the biggest tip that I would say is to be on time. Always, like, time management is so important, and people notice it if you're
Huge
late.
one.
Like, if you're late,
Huge.
people won't book you again. They won't want to work with you. It's a sign of respect. So always make sure you're on time. Always make sure that you know your stuff. You're well rehearsed. Network. Be nice to everyone. Chat to everyone. You know, make sure you get people's details and stuff. And you'll start making friends along the way and seeing the same sort of people at gigs and that. And just learn, you know, other people that have been in the game longer. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to like collaborate as well. Like when I first started doing poetry, I was like, you know, saying to musicians, "Oh, why don't you do something here?" And you know, some of them said, "No, I don't want to do it," or "I'm too busy." It's okay, you know. But I think always be open and positive, and that's the biggest tip I would say is just to be gigging a lot, like get yourself out there, get your name out there. You know, post a lot, try and film your content, film live gigs and stuff, and just keep creating and just yeah.
I
What was the
find
other
that
thing I
so
would say?
interesting, that balance of what you said of have the confidence in yourself almost to the point of delusion, but then
Yes.
also, like you pointed out, it's also so important to be humble and be ready to learn so much and realize that,
Mm,
especially if you're starting out, regardless of how talented you think you are naturally or not, that
mm,
by asking questions to the people that have been there before and that know what they're doing, and really
definitely.
being open to listening and receiving everything that they tell you, that is
Mm.
like one of the best things to really get you started for sure.
Yeah, I would say yeah, like be obviously confident on stage, but yeah, humble off stage. You know what I mean? Like especially in comedy, like they always say when you first start, watch, stay till the end, like if you can. Obviously, I know some people, you know, live far away, have to get, you know, train home, whatever. If you can, watch the headliner because you learn so much from the people that have been in the game for a long time and chat to them in the green and ask them questions or whatever. Like it always looks bad if you start doing comedy and you do your set and then you just go home. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. Yeah, just soak up all the information you can and just be a nice person. Don't be a dick because sometimes you get booked just by being a good person. Like someone more talented than you would think, why are they getting booked? I'm better than them. It's like, yeah, but you're a prick. So no one wants to be in agreement with you.
Mm,
So that's very very important as well. Just be a good person, man.
always a huge one. And I
Yeah.
find that so interesting. In music, they say the complete opposite thing. So they always
Really?
say to you, I was always told that if you show up to gigs, don't hang around too much, don't be too available, because
What?
as a musician, you're selling the illusion of you are not access. You know, you're not an ordinary person in a way. So
Yeah,
they
you're
always
busy.
said like
Gotta
leave the
go, mate.
gig,
Gotta go.
disappear, come and go. Don't let too many people talk to you all at once, because
Oh my
then
god.
everyone kind of just feels like they're your mate, and then you stop being that like really good musician on the stage, and they're just like, oh no, and then you know you're just it turns more into a karaoke night than like a performance, you know. So they
It's
always say
mad.
make your exit, disappear, like make the contacts you need to make, but like disappear. But I definitely agree with you with the studying, like
Mm,
where I will then just go to gigs just to watch people perform, and just the more you're on stage, the more you kind of realize stagecraft when you see it, and to the point where it doesn't matter.
yeah.
It could be a dancer, it could be a musician, it could be whoever, but there's always like something that a person does on stage, if it's the way they engage with the crowd or the way they deal with a microphone issue,
Mm,
or there's always something you can pick up from every performer, where some or things where you just notice, oh, I wouldn't have done that, or things where you go, wow, I want to try that the next time I'm on stage and
yeah.
see if I can get that same response. So
Mm,
yeah, definitely. And in terms of writing a book and getting published, what would be your advice for people that perhaps are just maybe not wanting to perform or anything like that at all, but perhaps they're just sitting at home, they've got a whole bunch of poetry or something, and they don't know what to do with it or how to kind of get it out there? What would your suggestion be
yeah.
for that?
Well, my books, I'm not published. I self-publish my books because if you're an unknown name, like it's super hard. It's really, really hard. And I wrote to a few different people and again faced a lot of rejection. So I was like, you know what? I've got something to say and I really want to get it out. So I just self-published and yeah, it was great because obviously it gives you a lot of freedom to just do what you want. Plus, when I sell the books at gigs, I'm making 100% that money back. I don't have to, give a cut to anybody. So I would always like recommend doing that, to be honest. But yeah, it's
How
just
does one
about
self-publish?
what's that?
How does one self-publish?
Well, there's loads of websites, right? So I used a website called Maxim or Mixam, 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 Mixam.com, and it's really good. Like you basically just upload your whole like document, like each document. So you put the front cover, like whatever artwork you got, and then the back, and then each page. So you do a page, leave it blank, page, and then you can pick your font, what size, everything like that. It's great. And then when you go to the next bit, they tell you about like what do they call it? Like if what sort of texture the pages you want it to be, and this and that, and all different like sort of like the way a book's made, and you fill it all out, and then that's it, and then you pay for them, and they get delivered to your house. They're so quick and easy as well. Like it literally gets delivered within a week, and they're such good quality books. Like my books are so like amazing. Like everyone always asks me like, oh, who's your publisher? And I'm like, self-published. But so yeah, definitely use that website if you're gonna be doing it. And just good luck, you know what I mean? I think it's scary when you write something and you think, oh, I don't know how people are going to take this, but got to get it out there. I think it's selfish to keep your art to yourself, you know what I mean? Art's supposed to be shared and given away. So, yeah, just do it. Well, yeah, again, it was just due to networking. I had my guitarist, and then I met a bass player who was actually playing for someone else at a So Far Sounds gig. We started chit chatting because when Sam couldn't play guitar, I was like, well, I can get him to play guitar. So he used to play guitar with me, and he said, you do know I play bass as well? And I was like, oh, do you? And he was like, yeah. Like, why don't I play bass and Sam plays guitar? I was like, oh, that's sweet. And, I had a keys player. Well, I just did a thing on Facebook, right? Anyone play keys, got some paid work for you. And this guy reached out, this boy that I used to go to primary school with, who I'd not spoken to in like 20 years, yeah. He's like, I play piano. And I'm like, yeah, all right then, mate. I was like, well, send me a video, innit? Sent me a video. Sick player. I was like, you're in the band. And then I got recommended a drummer, so he came, and then so it was just us four for a while. And then I was like, oh, I'd love a sax player. That'd be so cool. And I got recommended the sax player who used to play for Rudimental. So he'd been touring all over the world with Rudimental, right? So this guy like recommended him to me. So I went on his Insta and I'm like, there's no way this guy's going to want to be in my band. He's like doing all this cool stuff with these huge bands, like traveling all over the world. Like he's got some of the best celeb stories like ever. But I messaged him. I thought, you know what? Again, the delusion. I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to reach out. What's the worst going to say? No. So I wrote to him and I said, hey, I explained who I was, what the band was, what our vision was, that I really liked his stuff. And look, if he'd want to be a part of it, that'd be great. But no worries. If not, let me know. And like 2 days later, he wrote back to me and was like, 100% would love to be involved in this. I couldn't believe it. And he's just completed the band. It's like, just, we're so close. We're like a family. And he's so like, out of it, I mean, everyone's really good, but he, out of everyone that I thought would be a bit wishy-washy, because he gets so much other amazing work. He's like, he comes to every rehearsal. He never lets me down. He's always on time. He's so supportive. He's always like throws his ideas into the hat of like how we can make things better. He's just like the nicest guy. He's so humble and stuff. And I just thought, wow, like if I'd have not reached out to him, I never, ever, ever would have had this experience of having this really cool, like tight band. And we're a tight band now. So yeah, it all happened like slowly but organically. And yeah, it's just great. We've all become really close friends, and we love playing together in it. So it's one of those things that just happened over a few years, but now it's there. I can't imagine not having them in my life. It's been great. It's been great.
Yeah, persistence, patience, and good connections.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, and a bit of bravery.
Don't ask, don't
So I
get. I'm a
know,
big fan of that quote, man.
we've already touched a little bit on obviously mental health, and also you having been in an abusive relationship, which sparked your things. What kind of challenges? Those are two huge challenges already, and how did you work through those, and how did they challenge you while you were building everything that you've got going on now together? And how did you kind of overcome those challenges?
What, being in an abusive relationship?
Yeah, and your mental health, whichever one you want to talk about.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. It's weird. Like, I think when I was in the relationship, it was everything. I was on sort of like autopilot, and
Mm,
I was just like, we would have. It was mad. Like, we would have the most explosive rows, like violent, horrible, and then 20 minutes I'd be going on stage like, how's everyone doing tonight? My name's Sarah Callaghan. It was like, and I'd have like the best gig. It was always like, I would always have a really good gig after something had happened. It's almost like it just fueled me, and I could just push everything out and like hyper focus on the job at hand, you know. So I was just rolling with it. And it was only afterwards when I got out of it that, but when I was obviously in a abusive relationship, I was a different person. So I wouldn't really like, I would always like, I was definitely a little more shy. I was really shy. I wouldn't talk to people as much. I wouldn't put myself out there as much. He kept, you know, he would always put me down and tell me that I wasn't good and stuff like that. So I did start to believe that. So when I came out of the relationship and I was doing gigs and stuff, it was really weird because people were so nice to me and I didn't really know how to handle it. And
mm,
I did feel more depressed and just felt like I couldn't really do it. But again, I was just sort of getting through it. But then the poetry really helped me. It really, really, really helped me to realize who I was and to realize, no, I am all right on my own and I am good at this and I am a nice person. You know, when you've got someone telling you that you're a horrible person, you're this, you're that, for years, you know what I mean? Like you do start to believe it. And
yeah.
you know, connecting with people and having these good like, open conversations. You know, I carried a lot of shame with me for a long time, so that was
Mm,
like really really good, and it just made me be more honest. And I think that's when my performance, comedy and poetry, everything just went up a level because I was just so real on stage and so vulnerable and so authentic, like the most authentic I'd ever been in life. And like the audience can tell when you're being like that and they love that, they really feed off that. And it was something that I kind of, looking back, was really quite scared to do a lot of the time. Like I was so
mm,
animated when I first started doing stand up. Yeah, back in when I first started, people used to think I was a character act. They used to come up to me and be like, oh, I love that character you do, and I'm like, that's me, I'm just being me. But because I was like over the top, they thought I was a character. So that was crazy. And I'm thinking, fucking hell. I mean, obviously that's why. Whereas now I'm like, I come on stage, I talk how I talk in real life. I'm exactly the same how I am off stage, on stage. And that was a breakthrough for me. So I think actually, despite what horrible time it was, and it was a horrible time, there was a lot of tears, a lot of depression, a lot of days spending it in bed. I just powered through, and I don't know how I found the strength. Just like, I don't know, God, somebody, just I powered through, and when I came out the end, it was actually like a blessing because it unlocked so many doors and unlocked me. When you're rock bottom, there's nowhere else to go. You know what I mean?
mm,
So you take more risks because you're like, I've got nothing to lose. I've got nothing to lose, and like, there's actually a beauty being in that space. I really do believe there is a beauty in that because you lose all your inhibitions because you're like, fuck it, you
yeah.
know. And I used it for good. I mean, sometimes you can spiral even further, but I used it as like, okay, I'll just be me then. And then when people like that and responded really well to it, it just fueled me even more. And I thought, oh, this is great. And then I managed to get out of it. But comedy, I mean, I know it's so cliche and cringe to say, but I mean, art saved me. I don't think I could have gone through a traumatic experience in my life and not like performed on stage or created stuff or put things online or, you know, just did creative things. I think art is so 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 important to people's healing, you know, whether you do art in private or in public. It's like, say if that was never available to me, I don't know, I'd probably be dead, seriously.
Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. I can relate to that so much, and it's so true. It's like you said, but it's A, that step of being vulnerable enough with yourself to put it in the form of art, your own
Mm.
struggles and your trauma and what you've gone through, and then again being vulnerable enough to start sharing that with people. And in some ways, it can be easier to share the art than to actually even let people know what's going on with you, whether that's kind of your own mental health, whether that's being in an
Mm,
abusive relationship. It can be easier to put that
mm.
in the form of comedy or poetry or a song
100%,
than
yeah.
actually
I didn't tell
turning
no one
around and
about it.
having to tell people around you
Mm,
and allowing that to speak for you in that sense. And yeah, having that courage to kind of speak your truth in that way, regardless of how your truth feels in that moment in time. It can often feel kind of so, like you said, rock bottom, like there's no way out of this. And then, yeah, it's amazing that you found that at the end of the day, kind of really positive outlet for that, as opposed to taking that out one of a million other ways. You said, wow, I'm going to
mm,
put this pain into my art, and you found that kind of feedback loop of people responding to that back again.
mm.
And then, yeah, clearly that has it's been something so meaningful to help you through the years and your mental health and things. And do you get nervous before you go on stage?
Yeah, all the time.
What do you
It
do to
literally
deal with those nerves?
that feeling never goes. Like there's nothing I can do really. I mean, I feel like just being as prepared as I can be. If I know I've rehearsed and I know what's it's like, fine. And then I'll always go over the first line. I'll go over the first line, and then yeah, that's it. But I mean, nerves are nerves, man. I don't. For me personally, I don't know what to do to let them go away. But it's funny because sometimes people say to you, "Oh, if you don't feel nervous, there's a problem." Like nerves are good, you know what I mean? It means you care, it means you're excited, you know what I mean? And they're more excited nerves than actually like actual fear. Like I don't fear the crowd, but yeah, I definitely still get nervous. It's mad. I think I always will.
Yeah, I think the rehearsing is the only thing, like you said, because I think the worst thing that can happen because of nerves is that you end up messing up and then you kick
Yeah,
yourself.
God.
And the only cure for that is just rehearsing obsessively and making sure that
Yeah,
before you go on, you're like, right, I know what I'm doing. So even if my brain isn't quite functioning or whatever, it's almost like autopilot at that point, you know?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there any other tips and advice for like mental health things? Any other kind of struggles or things that you think you face, but you're just like, this is how I've gotten through it, that you think people at home might like need to hear from someone, or like little tips and
Mm.
tricks you have for overcoming things?
I think so obviously I would say yeah, do artistic things, do art, but obviously I know there's a lot of people that are like, "Oh, I'm not really into art or I'm not an artist, I can't draw or I don't sing or I don't do poetry." I would say if you're one of those people, then just go to loads of events. Like it is so wholesome. Like I've been to some nights before, like sound healing events, meditation events, just different things where you're surrounded by nice people that are open and non-judgmental. And you know, I know there's so many times you're like, I don't want to leave the house, I don't want to chat to anyone, but trust me, once you're out and you see the environment and you might get inspired by something, you never know, you might see something that really resonates with you or have a chat with someone that you know really gets you and stuff. And talking, you know, people say it all the time, but it's so important just to talk. And if you can't afford therapy, if you don't want therapy, just talking to strangers. That's the thing, like some people don't want to open up to their friends, but if you go to these nights, start chatting to a stranger, you think, well, I'm never going to see you again, so who cares? You can sort of open up. Like I've had people come up to me and just literally tell me their whole life story, and I'm like, God, like, yeah, but it's probably because I am a stranger, and they're like, they feel comfortable just to say it, and I always listen because I know how good they feel afterwards. They'll walk away feeling good that they've got that off their chest. So I
Mm,
would always encourage just to go out, even just for 20 minutes, even if you can't stand it and then you want to leave, just try slowly to do that. I would always encourage that. I would encourage to do art, like painting or drawing, or write your feelings down, and move your body, and just to get out and about. Like that's probably the biggest thing. And just to know that, you know, again, very cliche, but the storm passes. Like when I was going through my stuff, I genuinely thought my world was ending. I thought I'd never get over it. I didn't think how I'd never meet anyone that would love me. How could I continue my artistic journey without him? Like how it was the end of the world. I never thought I'd get through it, but I did.
mm,
Things are great now, you know what I mean? And I think if people really like understood that this ain't forever, you know, you can get through it and you're so much stronger than you think, and just keep believing that. That's what I'd say. It's just believe you can get through it, and you will.
Yeah, there's always a new chapter. Like, even if it's not the next page, even if it's not the next sentence, there's always going to be an end to this chapter, and
Yeah.
a new chapter of your book will start somewhere where it's going to be something completely different. That's the only promise we really have in life, is that everything's going to change. Nothing is ever going to stay the same. So that is
Yeah.
definitely something, as well as I've gotten older, dealing with mental health, that has gotten me through, is that whenever I feel down, I'm like, okay, I know that the next feeling is probably going to be me feeling happy, or feeling something other than this. And then, yeah, vice versa. It's always that reassurance of like, this is not permanent, and whatever
Yeah.
comes next is something different than this. And therefore, that's, I'm promised that something else is coming next, whenever that next is.
Yeah.
But it's going to change eventually. It always does. Everything always does.
Yeah.
Are you ready for a little round of quick fire questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Here we go. What is your favorite song right now?
Oh, my favorite song right now. I don't know. There's a band called Ocean Alley. Have you heard of them? They're like an Aussie band, and yeah,
They,
their song.
okay. I have heard of them. I need to check it out. Ocean
Yeah, they're
Valley.
good. They're good. They're like sort of like soft rock reggae style, very chill. So it's like stoner music. I really like them.
It's giving me No Doubt vibes. I love it already. What is your favorite place to go and unwind?
Ooh, do you know what? I love Brighton. I really do.
Brighton.
Brighton's a vibe. Like everyone's always like nice, good food, nice pubs and that. Yeah, I like Brighton.
Any particular place in Brighton where you're just like, this is the sweet spot, like where I just feel like I just feel amazing?
Probably there's a fish and chip shop right under the pier, and like they got real comfy seats and like the parasol things, and it's so nice to like just eat food and watch the water and hear the water and stuff. I love it there.
Oh yeah, food and water, perfect
Yeah.
combination. Like watching
Yeah.
water while eating food, and just the ripples and the shimmering and everything
Yeah,
is like,
it's
ah.
chill.
What is the last movie you watched?
Stand by Me.
Okay. Ice cream or sorbet?
Ice cream.
Ice cream. Okay. Name one book that you think everyone in the world should read.
The
It
Secret.
can be your own book.
Oh, and my books, yeah, all of my books. But the Secret's a good one.
The Secret.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your favorite trash meal?
Oh, favorite trash meal. Chicken goujons and spicy wedges and beans.
I'm vegetarian, but the people at home will understand what that is.
Okay.
Your favorite healthy snack?
Ooh, healthy snack. I would say maybe carrot sticks and hummus.
Classic choice, can't go wrong.
Yeah.
What was the poster on teenage Sarah's wall?
Oh my days. Well, I had two of Leonardo DiCaprio, and then I had the band 911, old school. So I had them, and then when obviously they broke up, like very like early 90s, and then I had Blue. I was a big Blue
Okay.
girl. Yeah.
What is your favorite concert that you've been to?
Oh my God, there's so many. Wow. Well, I went to see Oasis a few days ago, and that was unreal. But that's a very basic answer because everyone's like, "Oh, Oasis." And this is a bad one. It's controversial. I went to see Chris Brown when he came to London, and
Controversial.
I know he's a bad guy, but I'm telling you now, that geezer can dance. Yeah, it was such a good show. It was actually an amazing show. Like his dances, the music was on point. It was crazy. There was fire and the visuals. Like it was sick. But no, I've seen loads of good bands like over the years and that. I'll tell you actually. No, I will tell you. This is my final answer. Transmit Festival in Glasgow. Never seen Pulp ever in my life. That was incredible. Halfway through the set, he read like a 10-minute poem to absolute silence. Like everyone was like silent, just let him read it. It was crazy. It was mad. I've never seen someone read a poem out to like 100,000 people. So I really respected him for that. And because the geezer's old and he's still got so much energy in that. So yeah, Pulp.
Yeah. What is one place in the world that you still have to visit?
Brazil. Yeah.
Good answer. Your
Yeah.
favorite place you've been on holiday so far?
Ooh, favorite place I've been so far. I would say Jamaica.
Great answer. Your most embarrassing festival moment?
Oh my days. Well, I perform at a lot of festivals, And a lot of people know that festival gigs are terrible because no one's listening, everyone's drunk or on drugs. You're competing with the sounds of these big bands playing in the tent next door. And I did I did Kendall Calling one year, and I absolutely died on my ass so badly. Like I literally played to complete silence, and yeah, it was very embarrassing. So yeah, I'd say that's up there with my most embarrassing festival moment.
If you could time travel to any historical period, where would you travel to?
Oh, I know this is going to be so boring, yeah. The 80s. I just think the music's so good, like Motown, you know what I mean? Like so much cool stuff was happening. Um, yeah, the 80s. So not that far back really, but
Good times, good time.
mm.
Um, if you was in charge and you could pass one law for one day, what law would you pass? If you was in charge for one day, what law would you pass?
For one day.
You can just do one law. You can put one law to Parliament and get it voted through, and they'll all do it for you.
Petrol is free for everyone. So everyone
It's
can
a
just
good
fill up their
one.
cars for free.
Your favorite or most inspiring historical figure?
Maya Angelou. I mean, she's a historical figure, is she?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
very valid.
She's very inspiring to me. The way she lived her life and obviously her writing and stuff. She's a very strong woman, very intelligent woman. Yeah, I love her.
If you could learn one language, any language, without having to try, and it could just be in your brain, what language would you pick to learn?
Well, I would say Spanish because I love Spain, any Spanish speaking country, and yeah, it'd just be great. I love everything about Spanish culture, but actually, I'd probably do like Mandarin or something because if you're English first speaking, like fluent, that's your like original language, and then you're fluent in Mandarin, you would earn so much dough as an interpreter. Like, I would just do that on the side and just rake it in.
What is the best present anyone has ever given you?
Best present. I reckon the Oasis tickets was pretty cool. My geezer bought those like out of the blue.
Massive.
So yeah, I would say
Oh,
that
the
was
blue as well. Not even for anniversary or birthday. Clearly a keeper. Um, what is the worst present anyone has ever given you?
uh, oh my god, my dad came back from Thailand and he got me like these like beads like and these really horrible like girly earrings and like I don't really wear much jewelry and I'm not girly at all and I looked at it and I was like, why the fuck have you got me this? I'm never gonna wear this. But yeah, I said thank you anyway and kept it moving.
Um, what is your favorite place to go on a shopping spree? And this can be a real place or it can be online. But like when you're just like, I'm just gonna buy a whole bunch of stuff, whatever it is, where do you go to have a shopping spree?
Oh, bloody hell! I don't know. I'm not really into clothes. I don't really go shopping, but um.
It could be anything. It could be clothes, it could be food, it could be technology, it could be
All right.
random
Okay.
thing. You know,
Well,
when you
maybe
just
like
go and you're just like, I'm just gonna go splurge and buy a whole bunch of things. Where do you go?
I'll probably JD then. I'm a big trainer geek. I'm into. I've got so many pairs of trainers. I love trainers. It's actually an addiction. Which my geezer hates. So probably there. Yeah.
JD. And then the last question is if you had like 30 seconds and a microphone that you could speak to every human, they could all understand you, and you could give them all one piece of advice or wisdom from you, what would you pass on to the world?
Go to therapy. Become emotionally intelligent. And fucking sort yourself out so you stop hurting everybody else and just be nice to each other and stop killing each other, man. It's really not that deep. Yeah.
I definitely think everyone needs to hear that part as well. Can only agree. Oh my God. Well, what is coming up for you in the upcoming like year or two? Where can people find you and support you on your journey?
You can find me on Instagram. I post a lot of my gigs on there and like clips and stuff. So my Instagram is at scallaghan1. That's at SCALLAGHAN and the number one. Or on my website, sarahcallaghan.com. Yeah, I'm just gonna be gigging and doing shows all over the place. Hopefully moving back to Australia. I don't know when. At some point, maybe the end of this year or early next year. But yeah, I'm gigging a lot. I'm all over the place, doing lots of music, lots of comedy. So whatever you're into, hopefully you can find something that that you want to come to. So yeah, check it out.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much, Sarah. And thank you so much to everyone who's tuned in from home, be it listeners or watchers on YouTube. Don't forget to give us a follow on Phoenix and Friends podcast. And to support our podcast further, please share, or you can find the links to the Patreon or any other ways to support in the description. Whatever you're doing now, I hope you have a fabulous time, and I will see you next time. Take